Hey everybody, Off the Mic Sports Network here. Another edition of Off the Top Rope. So expanding on a video that I had earlier on Saturday. Man, I read you guys some tweets from Tony Khan. Apparently, there was a transmission issue that related to the last 30 minutes of Collision not airing as normally, and then they were promising, "Hey, you can watch the West Coast feed, and we'll get it up there for you." And there was still a transmission issue. Not that anybody cared about Collision, but the fact that this is happening 6 years in, they don't have production meetings. They occasionally have regular botches, and it's 8 days out from your flagship pay-per-view where you have one of the worst cards that this company has ever put out. I can't think of a more dark day in AEW history outside of airing the CM Punk footage. And maybe before that, brawl out and brawl in. Those are the only three things in my mind that I can think of as more of a damaging look for this promotion than what happened on Saturday night. Because how do you not have the ability to have your shit together when you parade yourself around like you're this alternate promotion that has all their ducks in a row, all of this talent, and yet for some reason you don't showcase that on Saturday nights for Collision. You tape 4 hours of television back to back on Wednesday night, and then you have this set to air, and yet for some reason you can't get the last half hour on television. And then on top of it, what bumps you off the air? The Rock and Black Adam. It's not even like one of the Rock's good movies. It's one of the Rock's biggest like creative and like, universally money budgeted failures. Because that's the whole reason that he got back into WWE is because Black Adam failed at the box office, at least from that perspective in terms of budget and whatnot. It still made some money, but for The Rock and Black Adam to be the one thing, that is almost like it's one of the funniest things I think I've ever seen in my life, because it's like, man, Rock can appear during the main event of Collision, but hey, he can't appear during the main event of WrestleMania. So like, this is so funny for so many different reasons, because the guy who's a TKO board member is appearing during, AEW television time. And I understand in some respect things do happen when it comes to television, but you rarely see this type of failure from a technology perspective when it comes to any type of wrestling show. And it wasn't live television. They had this thing taped out. They had this thing in the can on Wednesday. The crowd was not into it. The card, as per usual, like I said with Collision, was not good. They pretty much put the scraps on this show. And then, like I said, you get knocked off the air with 30 minutes to go, even though there wasn't any matches. And in some cases, you might have done some people a favor, because like I said, you're putting Wheeler Yuta in the main event. Although I did see that Willow Nightingale beat up Wheeler Yuta, which, admittedly is kind of funny, because I love Willow. And I'm happy for Willow that she's staying in AEW. I think she should stay in AEW, even though I'm frustrated with the way that this women's division is booked. They clearly see something in her, and I hope that she is a champion at some point really, really soon, because she has really gotten screwed over a lot. But the point being here, this is one of the darkest days in AEW history, when you're in the news on a random Saturday night because your shit and your programming didn't get over the air and you got knocked off the air for reasons that we may never figure out. And then on top of it, you promise that you're going to come back for the West Coast feed, and the same issue still popped up 3 hours later. How does that happen? How in the hell does that happen when you have a multi-billion-dollar owner who has all the money in the world, all the resources to pay all these wrestlers under the sun, give them all the control and all the power, and you can't figure out how to function your production properly? And this is not the first time that something wrong has gone wrong, whether it's the content, whether it's a camera cut or something that gets screwed up with a microphone. But that sort of shit happens all the time. Not being able to be broadcasted for the last 30 minutes of your show and being shut down early for stuff that you could have easily controlled is embarrassing. It's embarrassing. And then on top of it, what do we have to look forward to in 8 nights? A really shitty pay-per-view card that if you're willing to spend $50 for this, God bless you. God bless you. I used to spend $50 for AEW pay-per-views because they would put on nothing but bangers. The last 2 shows, The last two pay-per-views that they have put on are some of the worst pay-per-view cards that I've ever seen in my entire life. And they've had back-to-back terrible pay-per-view main events. And this one, I have no idea what's going to be the pay-per-view main event. If it were up to me, I would main event with Will Ospreay and Hangman Adam Page, because that feels like the biggest match with the most consequences. Anarchy in the arena doesn't mean a goddamn thing in the big picture. It's just a bunch of people that are going to beat the crap out of each other and do a bunch of hardcore spots for about 30 minutes. And I guarantee you that's probably going to main event the show. They should end it with Hangman and Ospreay. They won't, because, tradition. Like, I said it on the other video, on many of the other videos that I've done, and some people get after me saying that I'm too harsh. This can't happen. This can't happen. You can't have a bad pay-per-view card when you have multiple months. Guys, WWE put on a Saturday night main event show, and it's literally booked 4 matches in the span of like 6 days that are infinitely better than what is on this AEW pay-per-view. And then on top of it, your Collision show that is supposed to lead into has no meaning whatsoever. You can't even broadcast that correctly. They deserve all the criticism in the world for this. And the only days that I can think of that are more damaging to taking this promotion seriously is everything that happened with CM Punk ahead of it, like the brawl in, the brawl out, and then them airing the footage on television the week of WrestleMania or the week after WrestleMania. It's embarrassing. It's embarrassing. So, I mean, if you support this, fine. You're just a sicko. But this is not acceptable. If you want to be taken seriously as a alternative promotion and something that's going to be a threat to the rest of you want to say, oh yeah, we're getting all these people on Max, we're getting all these people coming back, and we're trying to restore the feeling, and then this shit happens. The fuck, man. Be better. Anyway, see you guys soon.